You ready for us to get started, Mary Jo?
Almost.
Almost.
Okay, I sent you the link, Hillary.
Yes.
Okay.
All righty. I think we can start up the meeting and move along, and hopefully when we get to the budget, we'll be all on the same page. It is 7:31 and the Belleville Area District Library Board is called to order. We will begin with the roll call, and for that I will ask Alma, our secretary, to proceed.
Okay. Chavez,
Here.
Dawson,
She's muted.
Oh,
I'm here.
okay. Jariga,
Here.
Priest,
Here.
Alma, here. Gates,
Here.
okay, she's on the phone. Okay, and Sharon Peters.
here. Good. We have our full house here today. The next item is we will have to have roll call votes on everything. And we are on item 2, which is approval of the agenda. And once it's moved, I have a request about the agenda, but a motion is in order.
On the agenda, so moved.
Seconded.
Seconded by Linda?
Yes.
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded and appropriate for discussion. I have but one point of privilege that I'd like to do on the agenda once it is approved, and that would be I'd like to move to just a little tiny bit of trustee comments. I want to move it up to the beginning of the meeting because it's significant for the whole board to consider, and that's trustee comments from Barbara Gates. So I would ask that we approve the agenda as written with that one small change.
Okay.
And so we have to have a roll call vote. Who lives by the train?
It's a train
Yeah.
going northeast.
I do, but I don't hear it.
Well,
I can
okay,
hear.
Alma, you do the roll call vote for the
Okay, let's see here.
same little group.
Okay, Chavez,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Jariga,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes,
Priest,
Yes.
Hughes Grubbs, yes.
the motion carries with no dissenting votes. And I would then like to ask Barbara Gates. She has news for us, which she has shared just recently officially with Mary Jo and I, but I'd like for her to be able to share with all of you. Barbara?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I submitted my resignation from the board effective tonight, because I've had to relocate out of Van Buren Township. I now live in Dearborn, Michigan. I had to move because my son will be coming home from the rehab facility where he's been. And of course, you all know he's been hospitalized and everything since November. and he's finally coming home. And I was just talking to him before we came on, and he got his motorized wheelchair today. They're moving right along, so I'm sure by the end of the month he will be home. And I had to find a place that would accommodate his disability. So all this has happened since the last board meeting. I've been very busy, and I've been blessed to be able to find a place that can accommodate and help him. So I called Sharon as soon as that was done to let her know I would no longer be able to be on the board, because I was pretty sure that if you didn't live in the three areas, that you were not eligible to be on the board. So it's with much sadness that I had to resign. I really enjoyed working with all of you, the professionalism and the teamwork, and the camaraderie was wonderful. And I will miss all of you, but I'll be having my hands full with him here with me. So that's my announcement. I did make it official by email to Sharon and Mary Jo. Thank you.
Thank you. It's with
Thank
much
you.
sadness that we would accept that, and I'm sure other board members want to have comments. I'll just say that I know that family comes first, and several of us have been very engaged in family caregiving, and we certainly appreciate that that has to be the main priority in your life. Other comments?
MJ?
MJ?
Okay. Barbara,
Yes.
I know how hard it can be to give up something you really, really love to do. And you've been
Yes.
a good board member. But I also know how important it is to take care of family. And I applaud you for doing that for your son. And I hope that he does as well as can be expected.
Exactly. Thank you. That was great.
Linda?
Appreciate it.
Yes, Barbara, I will miss you. We came in at the same time, and
Right.
you were always so friendly to me and wonderful to talk to. And I understand, family, because as you know, I was gone for 3 months taking care of my grandson, and you do have to put your family, that's number one. And so I totally understand, and I wish you all the best, and I'll be saying prayers for you and your son.
Please do that.
Okay.
Right.
Barbara, I hope that you have some support systems for yourself too,
Yeah.
in Dearborn, because you're gonna have a lot on you, and we'll miss you certainly. You're doing what you have to do, and I'm sure it's a blessing for him to finally be able to come home. But I hope you have some support for yourself.
That's very important, and I appreciate that thought. I did find a place at Henry Ford Village here in Dearborn. So they have a lot of things in place that will help him to on his road to recovery. But I do have to remember that I need help as well. I can't do it all. So thank you for that thought.
Just a quick,
Linda?
just a quick comment. Several of my church members are there, and I go there often to visit. So I'll drop in to see you if I can, Barbara. I'd really hope.
Okay.
I'd like to do that. It's a lovely place. I've been there
Thank
quite.
you.
Sounds like you
Yeah,
won't be getting rid of Linda.
Oh,
I have your number, Linda Priest, and I will call and let you know.
I would love to come, because I really do enjoy going there, and my family is all in Dearborn. My sister.
Oh, cool.
I go there often.
Okay, well, I will communicate with you with his apartment, with
Great.
our apartment number.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. This is Alma. I just wanted to say we're definitely going to miss you, and understand that, you know, you have to take care of first things first. And it's a blessing that you're in a position to be able to help your son. So
That's right. That's right, Alma.
that's a
That was
blessing.
important.
That's a blessing.
Yeah.
But feel free to call, drop by. Hopefully we won't be on this Ring Central a much longer time. We're hoping to open up, but feel free to, you know, stop in at one of the meetings or just call and say hello. Okay.
Thank you.
And I wish
Thank
you
you.
much success, and we will definitely be praying for you.
Yes, yes. And my son's name is Robert Washington Jr., if you want to call his name.
Okay.
Okay.
Mary Jo.
Yes, Barbara, you have my gratitude for serving on this board. It's been a joy to work with you, and you've been so supportive, and I'm really going to miss you. Please take care.
You. Thank you.
Is it my turn?
It's your turn, John.
Barbara, thank you for your service. And you're right. We all agree family comes first. That's number one priority. We will miss your work, and most of all, I miss your hugs. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I really do appreciate you all letting me put this at the head of the agenda. I felt like it was too important for us to wait till the end of the meeting, and then we found this out, and plus we're going to have to think about things and discuss them as time goes on, as our meeting goes on, and to what Mary Jo and I have determined, or the approach that we want to take. I'm very pleased that I'm sorry to see this being Barbara's last board meeting, but I'm pleased she could join us and tell everyone her news herself.
Please come back and visit.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And definitely
Sure.
for the grand opening, the
Oh,
real
I
grand opening.
I told Sharon, I can't miss that. I have to wear one of my slanky outfits for the grand
Well, that's
opening.
right. You'll raise the bar of fashion. When you come, you will improve our fashion look.
That's my thing, you know.
But you do it well.
Thank you, Sharon.
Well, we will return to the mundane. We'll return to our agenda, but I'm sure we'll hear from Barbara some more before we're done. Item 3 is approval of the minutes from the May meeting, and they were in your packet.
I make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from May.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's moved by Dawson and supported by Jariga that the May minutes, I'm afraid this agenda that I'm looking at, there's another change we needed, because this agenda I'm looking at said March.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah,
It should be
but it
May.
was really the May regular minutes that we are approving. It has been moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Any other?
It should be the May 12th.
Yeah, and the minutes do say May 12th. It's just the agenda. We've got so much going on. So, but the minutes, as well, they've been moved. Were there any points on the minutes that anybody needed to be clarified or corrected?
Not me.
No.
Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote that, and it's again a roll call vote. We're really working Alma tonight.
That's okay. Jehevitz,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes.
Jariga,
Yes.
Priest,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Alma Hughes Grubbs, yes. And what about Barbara?
Barbara.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. That motion carries with no dissenting votes. We are now at the point of the agenda for public comments. And if Rosemary has anything to tell us, you can unmute Rosemary. And otherwise, we'll move along. I don't hear you. So we don't have public comments tonight. But we also, the regular shtick for our June meeting is our public hearing on the budget. And we are in pretty good shape, thank goodness, and especially with this crazy year. So it's important that we keep up with what we have to do and handle our perusal of the budget. And I'm glad Barbara is still here. It's Barbara and Joy formulate the finance committee. None of our committees have been able to do meetings, but I think that Mary Jo is prepared to talk to us about this, and maybe, I don't know if Hillary shows us something, but anyway, look at what you've got in the packet.
Okay. It looks like MJ has a question.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry I wasn't looking at your hand.
Okay, for public hearing, don't we have to declare the beginning of it and the end?
Yeah. What
Okay.
do we do? Do we adjourn the
No.
regular meeting, or we just convene?
I thought you just noted the time and opened up a public hearing. If I'm wrong, please feel free to.
Alrighty, that's
me
fine
otherwise.
with me. We note that at 7:47, we are adjusting our agenda to accommodate a public hearing. And if there are members of the public interested in speaking to our budget, we can hear from you now. If not, I'd like to hear from Mary Jo first and from all board members on the budget that we're looking at.
Since you're going to be voting on this under the finance portion of the agenda, let me just do a really brief summary right now, and we can go into more detail later on. The budget that you have reflects three different parts of our budget: the operating budget, our debt retirement budget, and the capital project budget. The operating budget for next year shows us being open in our main library and branch for the full year. It is assuming we are indeed going to be open. And I know that we have some headwinds ahead of us, but things are going to be okay. We have a really good sized fund balance. Millage is up. Even though we've been subject to a Headley rollback, I'm still conservatively estimating our millage, just in case there are people contesting their property taxes as the economy kind of continues to crater a little bit. We'll keep an eye on that. I scaled back penal fines quite a bit for this year and next year. People just aren't getting pulled over as much right now. So I'm not anticipating seeing as much in that line item. The state aid for our current year, we did receive all of our state aid payments so far for this year. Next year, I am zeroing that out because I know that the state is in a world of hurt. So that will be approximately $33,000 worth of money right there. The debt retirement budget, let me back up a little bit. The operating budget, we are going to be levying 2 millages for a total of 1.4284. We have 2 operating millages. They've been rolled back by Headley. The original operating millages were for 0.7 and 0.75. The debt retirement is going to be funded by a 0.62 millage, and it should bring in approximately $960,000, and that will pay for our principal payment and our interest payments for the year. The capital project budget, you kind of have to look at this in total. We've got the amount that we're estimating to be spending by the end of this year and the amount that we anticipate spending by the end of next year. You'll see that at the end of June 30th, 2021, I have that number reduced down to 0, so I'm anticipating we will be complete with all of our projects by then. As a moving target, I don't think we'll spend as much money as I'm saying that we're going to spend by the end of June. Things have been delayed because of all of the COVID closures. And I don't, if anyone has any questions right now, if you want to wait until later in the agenda.
We could do both, and if there are questions now that you don't want to forget, you can ask them now, but we will be acting on this in committee reports. I'm not seeing any hands up right now, so we can digest this for a minute, and we'll be acting on it in a little bit. Much of the attention, Mary Jo has been giving tremendous time and attention to how to handle these strange and difficult times. So the COVID preparedness and response plan, you'll recall we passed it, recognizing it was going to be adjusted. We passed it approved it last meeting. So it has required revisions, and now I'd like to ask Mary Jo to speak to those as well.
Okay. As we have gotten into more detail on this, I felt like the plan that we had adopted last month from MMRMA was a great plan for last month. Now that we're starting to get into specific industries, having specific things that they need to follow, that we need to lock in a little bit differently. I engaged Ann Sarink, the library attorney who specializes in public, and the attorney who specializes in public libraries in Michigan, and she has done a lot of COVID response plans for a multitude of libraries in our state. So she had a document that is very uniform to what a lot of other libraries are doing. It's very concise, very basic, and I really wanted to consult with her to make sure that we were following all of the laws regarding OSHA and MIOSHA, which this document does. So since things have changed so much since last month, I was hoping that you guys could approve this document in lieu of last month's document. I mean, there are a lot of things that are similar to last month's.
Does anybody have any questions or points in this COVID-19 status? It is good that we're moving closer to being able to open, and that will be opening for curbside tomorrow, correct?
Correct.
So that's our start. That's our toe in the water.
Mary Jo, the very bottom little part on the first page where it says lower exposure risk, and then it has caution in what is the caution for? That was confusing me. The bottom of the first page in italics.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen this phrase before, and it might have been straight from the MIOSHA document.
All right. Just sounds weird.
Yeah.
Are we still on the budget, or did we jump to someplace else? I'm lost.
We're on the COVID report.
Okay, but you have to close the public hearing.
Oh, yes, indeed. Thanks.
I wrote down the time for that. That was at 7:52 p.m.
Yes, let's retract a bit. I forgot all about it. I think I had opened it at it's 7:52. At 7:52 is when we finished hearing the discussion that Mary Jo had given, and none of our members or public had anything at that point to say. So I would like to retroactively close the public hearing as of 7:52. And it's now 7:55. And we are now on the COVID status update.
Okay, Joy, what
Thank
was your
you.
question? You're welcome. What was your
My
question?
question was the bottom of the first page in italics. It says lower,
Exposure risk.
and then it has caution in parentheses, jobs. And I was like, why is the caution there? Why isn't it just lower exposure risk jobs?
Jobs.
I don't know.
But I found this in general very readable and understandable, unlike many things that I've looked at.
About COVID, yeah.
So I didn't read completely. I mean, I read over it. I don't profess to understand everything, but are we requiring people to wear masks and they will not be admitted unless they wear them?
Per state law, people are required to wear masks.
Okay, good. Okay.
Okay, I have a question in section 4, training. Number 6, how to manage symptomatic patrons upon entry or in the library. How will you? You call the library police, or, I mean, what do you do?
If they are already in their building and are exhibiting symptoms, we will get them out of the building as quickly as possible. We have designated some areas where we will let shelter in place if we need to call 911.
Okay.
Will we have an area at the entrance of the library, someone taking the temperatures of people?
By state law, that is not required at this point, and we get into a lot of privacy issues with that.
Privacy?
Yeah.
Privacy.
Also, those thermometers aren't always the most accurate, so I'm not saying we won't ever do it, but that's something we need to really think hard about.
Okay.
They're taking the temperature of staff, though.
Of what?
Staff.
The people that work there.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Staff have to fill out a form every day that says that they do not have a fever.
Oh, okay.
Or sore throat, or
Yeah, there's a variety of symptoms that they have to basically sign off and say, I don't have a fever,
yeah.
I have aches, I don't have.
So if you're not taking their thermometer, their temperature, you will have a thermometer around in case.
We will have a thermometer, yes.
And will it be posted in the library entranceway?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, when we're, they're all of the requirements need to be posted once we start opening to the public.
Right, yeah.
We have postings now for employees, requirements and rules.
How are staff doing so far?
Pretty good so far. It's really nice to start seeing people again. We've started bringing staff back in the building this week to train.
Everybody's been back. Everybody was able to come back.
Most everybody's been able to come back. So we've been training in all of the new protocols.
It talked a little bit about having a workplace coordinator. Is that you? Like everything else? For the COVID response?
Yes, and we have designated supervisors too. So at any time the library is open, there has to be a certain person in the building. And I've designated myself and Hillary, Michelle Locke, Tara McCann, and Amy Gresha. So basically the department heads right now.
Okay.
To say we couldn't designate other people further down the road, but right now that's how we're handling it.
Are you going to have times for vulnerable populations like they do in the grocery stores and things like that, or no?
And Shurik says we can't do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because you're
I just
discriminating.
read that in some of the material that was available to read, and it talked about that, and I wondered.
What was her reason?
We can't discriminate by age, and by basically saying only this segment of the population can come in, we're discriminating by age.
It didn't really work well in the grocery stores anyway, because even when they had that 7 to 8 hour, other people showed up and they're not going to tell them to leave.
Yeah.
So it was very
hopefully people who are vulnerable, if they have to go to
Yeah.
the library, will know to come first thing.
Right. What we can do is encourage. I mean, we can't mandate, but we can encourage. We can say,
Yeah.
this is a quiet time to come. You might want to come at this time.
The safe and cleanest and safest.
Right.
Yeah.
Have any trouble getting cleaning supplies? Because I know when I try to get them, I can't find any. So,
We're okay now, but we did have some trouble with that. It
yeah,
took some doing, but we've, finally were able to
good.
get it. So
All right, Joe, what about the plastic shields at the desks?
those just came back. Those just came today. They just got delivered today. I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't expecting them until early next week, so that was a good thing.
Next
We
week.
are starting with curbside only at this point, though, because I want our staff to come into the building and be
Okay.
comfortable with all of the new protocols and have them be on board for how we're going to open to the public. And we get into the stages a little bit. The next item on the agenda.
How exactly does this curbside service work? Somebody calls in?
People can call in. Tomorrow, the catalog is being turned on tomorrow. The library network is turning on our catalog tomorrow so that people can place holds on items. They can call us to place holds. If they don't know what they want, but they want some reader's advisory help, they can call us and we can find books and materials for them. We will check them out to the patron and we will schedule a time when they can come pick it up. So we will pre-arrange with them that they're going to come on Thursday at 4 p.m. to pick up their materials, and we will put them out on a table with their name on it.
We don't have lockers or anything like that.
We don't have lockers.
Huh?
No, just
Okay.
yeah, low tech.
Yeah.
And you're just having curbside at the main branch.
Right now, just curbside at the main branch. Once we get the kinks worked out of it, we can look at having curbside at the Sumter Media Center as well. But we want to get this.
That sounds labor intensive to me.
Well, it is, but we want to be able to start providing service.
Yeah.
Are
How
you
long-
using some calendaring system to make the appointment?
We're going to see how this works first, and if we need to, we can explore that.
Is there a limit on number of books?
Not at this time. Again, we want to see how this works before we start. If we find ourselves being totally inundated, we might have to place those limits.
Yeah.
I think our system already has limits on the number of items you can place a hold on.
Okay.
Are you taking the items to the car, or are you?
No, we're placing it on a table, and people will have to come and pick it up. So.
And we're trusting people to do that, right?
Yes,
They can do it.
they can do it.
That's been happening at restaurants for months.
So does there have to be interaction out at the table?
No,
So it's got the person's name on the bundle? Okay.
and they come at a prearranged time, so they know what time to come.
It's like contactless pizza delivery.
Right.
You don't interact. You interact with somebody over the phone, but once you've got their order, they put it together, they put it on a table, they go back in the building, and the person comes at their appointed time, picks up their stuff, and scoots away.
Right.
How close together are you making appointments?
Right now, we're doing it, I believe, in 15-minute blocks.
Yeah,
So is there a staff person who will kind of just be looking at that table or no?
We will have a staff person. We will be able to physically see the table from inside the building in the atrium in the circular entry. So we won't be outside, but we'll be able to see.
Are you accepting books back now too?
We are accepting people's items that they have returned. We
How
are.
are you handling that?
Pardon?
How are you handling that?
We have opened up the manual part of our book return, so they're returning it into that part because we're basically through the library network shared system. They're asking us not to discharge items from a person's record until after the quarantine. so that it doesn't trigger the holds and everything. So we're
Ah,
we're not running the books through our automated materials handling system until after quarantine, and the staff will do that on the inside.
and are you quarantining those books for a certain amount of time anyway? I mean, you're having to quarantine them anyway, but
Yes, we're quarantining for 72 hours.
so are we.
Okay. And the library network delivery has begun this week, so they're beginning to
Okay.
get everything going. So once a majority of libraries have kind of reopened, at least for curbside, then they will turn on the catalog for holds across the, basically TLN has to get through the backlog first before they right now our patrons can place holds only on our library's book. Hopefully in another week or two, it'll be open system-wide again.
So once the quarantine of the book or materials is over, then does somebody have to put them on the belt to go to the correct
Yeah.
bin? Okay.
Didn't teach you this in library school, did they?
No, they did not. I've learned a lot of things this last year, last couple of years. So we've got two documents. The first one is the COVID preparedness and response plan. I know if you guys wanted to, if you had any more questions specifically on that document, if you wanted to vote on that.
I make a motion to approve the first document.
The COVID
preparedness.
Preparedness and response plan. Okay.
right.
I second.
Second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved by Chehevitz and supported by Gates that the COVID preparedness and response plan revisions be approved. Are there any other questions on this topic? Seeing none, the secretary will call for the roll call vote.
Okay, Jehevitz,
Yes.
Jariga,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes,
Priest,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Hughes Grubbs. Yes.
this motion carries with no dissenting votes. Our next item on the agenda is related, and that is the reopening policy.
And again, this document is from Ann Sarink. I promised you something like this at the last meeting, that we would have that at this meeting. And this is it. And it basically is just like an outline of all of the things that we have to do in order to reopen. Resuming cleaning protocols, how to deal with returned material, social distancing practices, different reopening stages, the fact that that this is such a changing situation that I can amend this plan as needed, that it doesn't need to come back to the board necessarily. How to enforce our policies. And then Exhibit A is a reopening plan that's similar to the reopening guidelines we passed last month. Ann Saring kind of simplified some of the blended some of the stages together in this document. But she goes through each stage and talks about employees, activities permitted, social distancing and safety protocols for each area. And in Exhibit A, I have, today we are in stage 2. Tomorrow we will be in stage 3.
Oh, wow. We're moving.
So we're moving right along. Currently, I am establishing the hours of Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. in order to provide the service. Once we get everything going, we can expand those hours, but those are the hours I've got currently. And I've used those same hours throughout this document, although please note that that is subject to change depending on our situation. My ultimate goal is to be open our normal hours at some point. And then stage 6 is library open for regular business. So someday in the future, when all of this is over, we'll be able to reopen without all of the limits.
Did the Library of Michigan come up with these things, or was this mandated from Lansing?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Mostly, I think a lot of this is coming from, there was a work group, a library work group that is coming up with various guidelines. So I suspect we will see a lot of this when that document is made available.
We're required to follow a lot of the rules of the retailers. And
Right.
So,
Okay, so do you want to know where the typos are?
Sure.
a sharp eye.
I will pass them on to
They
insert.
jump out at me. I can't help it.
Yeah, okay, go for it.
Okay, on page 8,
Mhm.
number 9 in C, the second sentence, I think should read shall train rather than shall grain.
Oh, I think you're right. We will fix it.
And my husband, I'm looking at it, I'm saying, Rick, do you get this? And he said, I think it should say train. Okay, where's the other one? So, number 4, let me see if it's the same section. It's more of a question. Yes, it's number 4 for occupancy.
What page are you on?
7. It's the bottom paragraph. Regarding occupancy, and there's no typo, it's just a question about it.
Mhm.
Is somebody from the library going to be at the door with the counter counting people as they go in and out, or is that something those?
The devil is in the details. Possibly, or we might make people make appointments to come in the building. We'll have to see. I'll have to double. I did ask Dan what the occupancy is for what 25% occupancy would be, and I believe he said 171 people, and that's staff and public.
Right.
So we didn't get like an occupancy number from the fire marshal folks?
25% of the building capacity.
Well, I know that, but did they give us a building capacity?
I asked Dan because I knew I could get a quick answer from him, but we could, when the time comes, we can
Oh, okay.
ask the fire marshal too. Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, page 8 again, up towards the top, number 7. It should probably read food and beverage are not permitted. And before anybody groans and moans, I got this from my brother. He was very insistent before he died that I know how to correct spelling.
Well, you are absolutely right. We want this to be right. Any
Okay.
other comments or questions or corrections?
Let me just take a real quick look at this one. Oh, it's on page 7 again, and it's a question. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a question. So under B for activities permitted, it says patrons may enter the library, but will be limited to a specific area in the library. So does that mean we would tell the staff where we need to go, and then we'd have to stay there or get permission to move to another area?
We would probably say, okay, people can enter the building, but they can only be in the lobby area, or they can
Okay.
be in the first floor popular materials area, and everything else is not open yet. We might be roping parts of the library off.
Okay. So if people came in with kids, would the kids section be
Are we
open?
going to have the kids section open from the beginning?
Possibly not. I don't know. It depends. I'm convening a staff committee to really work through all of this because I want to make sure that we're doing the right things. A lot of libraries have been discussing this. I don't want to say yes or no at this point. We have to look at it.
Okay.
Children like to share
Explore.
their germs.
Yeah, we raised our minimum age temporarily. And we require parents to be with children under
Okay.
15
Okay.
or something, 12, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just, this is such a fluid situation, and it's going to just depend on where we're at with the number of cases and what stage we're at, you know, in the state as far as, you know, stage 4, stage 5, stage 6. So,
Okay.
you know, I mean, you know, my desire is to be able to open things up as much as possible when we can, but I
Right.
want to make sure that
Right.
we're safe.
Okay.
So you know, I really want the staff to really work through some of the specifics of this.
Yeah, and a lot of it, you're not gonna know what you need to do till you're faced with what to do.
Right.
Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Well,
Okay.
thank you. So with the reopening policy, and Eagle Eye has gone through it well, are there anybody else note things? It's really important for us to have these things correct, so. Are you want action on this one as well, don't you,
Yes,
Mary
please.
Jo?
Mhm.
Then it is, if there's comfort, I'll entertain a motion to accept the reopening policy.
I make a
Oh.
motion.
I'll second.
Moved by Chehevitz and supported by Dawson, that we approve the reopening policy as presented and corrected, and our secretary will take the roll.
Okay. Jariga,
Yes.
Jahavitz,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes?
Dawson,
Yes.
Priest,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Hughes Grubbs, yes.
Well, good. We are moving right along, and these are all things that none of us had envisioned we would be dealing with in June. We had a whole nother idea of what we'd be doing. So on that, we are to committee reports, and actually the first committee to report as usual is the building committee, and there actually was a meeting. Joy?
So they've been working on the old library. They're both existing. They have abated the asbestos floor tile. They're almost done with all of the utility connections. They've been removed with the exception of the electricity. And I believe
Yes,
that's
shut
coming
off.
this week.
You're kind of cutting off, Joy.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna close I'm having problems. You guys are making lots of noises, and I think I just froze. Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Yes.
Okay. Let me I'm gonna take my face off because that'll help the video. I'm having some kind of connection issue. How come I can't take my face off? Hillary, can you take my face off?
It,
Go
There's
down
a-
to the bottom of the page and
there's that
Oh, I
stop.
know.
stop video.
I
There you
know
are.
how, but it wouldn't
you go.
open. All right, is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. All of a sudden, I'm having connection issues. They have a different solution from a company called Pure Safety Systems that for demoing and abating the vermiculite in the back wall. They are exploring that system. I think that, am I right, or did we decide? I can't remember if we decided to say go ahead. Originally, it was supposed to be done by Midwest and what's the other company? Blue Ribbon. So now they're going to change it because they have a more streamlined process. On the new building, they're working on the interior punch list. Brown Dog has finished the area where the Pat Jars Memorial piece goes. The lights are in and everything is ready to go. Diane has it. I'm not sure. Was there something broken on it? I'm not sure what. But she had to fix something. So she has it. When they bring it back, it's ready to go. Mary Jo, were you going to say something?
Yeah, she had to strengthen the chains that where it hung from.
Okay. They're under, well, you guys probably already know, decorative columns under the canopy were done several weeks ago. They're still waiting for one little piece. And I love the blue sign on the south stair. They're doing a bunch of little stuff now. Dumpster gate hinges needed to be replaced. Exterior, they're working on the exterior brick punch list. They have made some progress on the live roof areas. Dean wants to get these plants in because I guess the trays are all kind of rooting together, but the safety system has to go in first. So I had to leave a little bit early, so I don't know exactly what was coming of that, but they had figured out a way on the front over the tower with the monorail cable system. And I believe that was a very workable solution. The live roof over by the teen area, I had to leave before that. So I don't know exactly what happened with that. Some kind of rooftop anchor system. Does anybody want to speak to that?
They were looking to put in a more simplified one in that area, rooted in one corner. And Dean and Dan and the structural engineer will have to come to an agreement before
That's right.
before any of that will happen. But like Joy just said, the plants that we had intended to have out there by now, they started them intending them to be out this spring, and the plants are growing to the point that they need to be placed out there. So that's one of the priority activities. It'll be so interesting when it's done, and I guess it'll be done fairly soon.
The last thing was additional padding on the roof for the beehives. So, and Dan suggested installing the first hive as south as possible, as far south as possible. So that workmen don't have to be too close to the bees. So, and that's all I have. I wanted to ask, and maybe and I forgot to ask, and then I had to leave, how long all of this is going to delay the parking lot from being done. Does anybody know? The COVID-19 and everything.
Well, we're behind. We were supposed to have our donor meeting or donor presentation
At the end of the month.
right, and that's not going to happen.
No.
And wanted the grand opening to happen after the parking lot was finished. Well, they're not tearing that building down anytime soon because they're waiting for DTE. So I would say push everything back at least 2 months.
Okay.
Can I be heard?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, because I tried to make statements and I've been cut off and I maybe didn't hear me.
oh,
But I'm on the building committee. Every day I walk past the library, and today there was a crane on top of the building. And what they were doing is replacing the skylights. Dan and Dean realized that the skylights were not what we ordered. There's supposed to be 3 plies of plastic, and there was only 2, and it wasn't proper. So they were replaced today.
Wow.
To add on to that. I'm done.
and well, also in answer to your question, Joy, we didn't get to very far in the meeting, even after you had to leave, in terms of the bigger questions of what's going to be the new timeline. I
Okay.
don't think it was at all discussed. I think we all know that it's put back, but we're going to have to, we're having another building committee meeting next week. And
Right.
hopefully we can maybe at least begin to think of I doubt that we can just blanket, choose a couple of months and say it sounds like that we're going to have to get a lot of cue from our construction people before we'll really know when we can expect the parking lot to be finished, and then what kind of plan we'd have for grand opening.
The other thing too to consider is that depending on how things go with reopening Michigan, if there's a sudden surge in COVID cases, she's going to shut stuff down again. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't plan anything until we get to level 6. But that's just me.
Well, yeah, and we'll have to have a process about that. So anyway, to answer you, Joy, no, there was no guidelines on that question.
Okay. That's all I have.
I did want to let the building committee know that Dean and I have been in touch, and I'm following up with the DTE, my friend at DTE, hoping that we can finalize the gas disconnect from the old building so that it can be demolished. Are there any other questions or comments to the building committee report? Hearing none, we'll move on to the bylaws committee. John?
I have nothing.
All righty, now we'll move on to the finance committee, and that's Barbara, but it's actually, I think we're going to have some issues we have to vote on. So Barbara, you can comment if you have comments. A lot we're looking at guidance from Mary Jo on this. Barbara?
No, we're going to vote on things that she proposed earlier.
Right. Are we ready to do that, or do we want to go over anything any further?
I make a motion that we approve the 2021 battle budget.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved by Dawson, supported by Juriga, that the 2021 Belleville Area District Library budget be approved. For that, we will need a roll call vote. Alma?
Doriga,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Priest.
Yes.
You moved, Joy. Yeah, you're in a different spot. Joy. Okay, Gates.
Yes.
Okay, Alma. Yes.
The 2021 budget has been approved unanimously. Now we move to the 2019-20 amended budget.
I make a motion that we approve the 2019 2020 Belleville Area District Library amended budget.
I'll second that one too.
Okay, again, it's moved by Dawson and supported by Juriga for the amended budget for this year, the 2019-2020 budget, which is about to end. Are there any other questions? No, then we will move to the roll call vote on this one. Alma?
Juriga,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Priest,
Yes.
Jehevitz,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Hughes Grubs, yes.
That has passed with no dissenting votes as well. Thank you. Then there's a fund balance allocation per Gadsby, which I must admit I learned about from Tanya, the Gadsby 54 rules. But these are kind of, well, they have to be done all the time. It's perfunctory.
I have some wording for a motion. Basically, we do this every year where we take some of our millage revenue and we're going to use it in the following fiscal year's budget. Would anybody on the board like to make the following motion to commit 1 million of the 2019 collected library millage that is in fund balance for use in the 2020-21 fiscal year's general operations per GASB number 54, fund balance reporting and government fund type definitions?
I would love to make that motion.
Thank you.
And I would love to second.
It's been moved by Dawson and supported by Priest with love.
Yes.
The Gadsby rules, that the motion as stated by Mary Jo be approved. And we need a roll call vote again.
Okay, Juriga,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Priest,
Yes.
Jehevitz,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Hughes Grubs, yes.
Okie dokie, we've taken care of the finance. We've taken care really of the heavy lifting of the work that we had to do. Maybe we could talk a little bit. The marketing committee is next. I'm gonna call on Alma. I know we haven't met, but Alma, would you like to, we kind of, Mary Jane kind of referred to a couple of the things that are being delayed. As I recall, it is the donor reception we were to have had at the end of this month and the grand opening. What else was on our marketing list?
I think that were the only two things left.
Yeah, we had done the other ones, which is good because we had a really full, busy list. And I don't guess we're prepared to figure out either of those other two until we know more. Did you have any thoughts about that, Alma?
No, not at this time. Yeah, because I think we were supposed to do something around, was it Father's Day or?
It was a week after Father's Day. We were
Father's Day.
going to do
We're going to do the donors thing.
the donor activity, you know, the preview gala for the donors.
Right, and then also the event that John was talking about, I think it was supposed to take place over by the Bayou Grill. The music was supposed to be combined.
Yes.
With the grand opening.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But we won't be able to, we won't be able to do the donor event until we're far enough along. We wanted to have the parking lot basically finished. And also we have to have all the donor signage up or the various kinds of things that donors have put money into. So we're not ready for any of that, and we're not ready to even choose a date until we know more. I guess.
Right, yeah.
So, thank you.
Okay.
Personnel Committee, Linda?
No report.
Very good. And Policy Committee, Mary Jane?
Well, I didn't think I was going to have a report, but I do have a little bit of a nugget to toss to all of you. I don't know how many of you are aware that the city is trying to help local businesses, mainly the restaurants, all 3 or 4 of them. And they're talking about making a specialty district. So say if you wanted to get a beer at Johnny's and walk over to Egan's and get a Bloody Mary, you could actually walk on the street with the alcohol in your hand. Okay.
Wow.
So that
Just like Key West.
that I believe is going to be voted on next Monday at the city council meeting. I'm not for sure about that, but I think that was what I read in the paper. The library, of course, would abut the specialty district. And so I think we need to come up with a policy stating that alcoholic beverages are not allowed on the library grounds. We don't want somebody sitting on a bench or laying down on a bench. That they're not allowed on library grounds or in the building. So.
Isn't it policy already? Mary Jo?
I think
I
it's
thought it
our
was.
policy already.
What's that?
I think it's in our policy already.
Yeah.
Well, but what may need to be added to that policy is that signage needs to be put up
Mhm.
because people walking around aren't necessarily going to know what policies we have in a book.
Right.
So perhaps that's an item for consideration by the Policy Committee, given that the circumstances around the library might be changing. I appreciate your bringing this up. I had not stayed up with this idea of, we'll start looking like New Orleans if we keep this up.
That's what Mary Jo said. She's hoping for it.
Well, then the Policy Committee Chair has brought up her own, the direction for, maybe that's something to be looked into before next meeting and decide whether we actually really need to amend the policy or not. We very well may.
Right, because like I said, I think they're going to be voting on it this coming Monday.
Okay.
And we don't have another meeting, virtual or in person, until July.
Right. Well, we'll keep that eye on that. And you, if you wish to call a policy committee meeting, if you need to really change things. And I guess, I don't know, we'll decide if that are here up until now, all of our committee meetings are also remote. So, but, and really with things like that, things can be shared by email and
Zoom.
maybe phone calls or this Ready Chat or what meet whatever we're on. We'll figure that out. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So now we are to approving accounts payable, and there is a list in here of checks. It's not as robust as our usual accounts payable listing. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve accounts payable as presented.
I'll second that.
Moved by Dawson and supported by Juriga, making the note takers' efforts easier. That the accounts payable be approved. Are there any comments? Then we, once again, will take a roll call vote.
Jerica,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Priest,
Yes.
Jehevitz,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Hughes Grubbs. Yes.
Okay. Director's report. Mary Jo.
Okay, I apologize for not always having the best news as far as being able to reopen all of the things. I want to, and I hope that we can get there in the end. But I want to make sure that we do this thoughtfully. And there are a lot of details to hammer out. Right now, we have a face mask rule, we have a social distancing rule, we have an occupancy rule. We need to really, really work on all of that to make sure that everyone is safe. So I just want to, throw those cautions out there. But it is my goal to be able to get us going again. So that's something that everybody's working towards. The whole staff is working towards. As I said earlier, I'm really happy to be able to start seeing staff members back in the building. And I think it's really good for staff morale to be able to come back and kind of get into some more of a semblance of normalcy in their lives. I think they are appreciative of that. We are continuing with our online programs. And of note, we just started our registration for our summer reading program, and we're doing all of that online this year. Right now, I think to date, we've had about 50 kids register for that program. All things considered, that's pretty good. Kenya had an excellent comic book club program last week. They did it on Zoom, and the kids had an excellent time. We've been having, when we were in our building, we had a comic book club meeting of kids, middle school, junior high. And so that is continuing. We are also planning some chess classes. Jonathan, a couple of years ago, did some chess lessons in our building, so he's gonna do that also, teaching through Zoom. We're also plans are also underway for an adult summer reading program, so we've got that coming up. And I'm going to actually throw this open to Hillary for a second to talk about some of our statistics from last month. She's looking them up.
There's Hillary.
We've been struggling with how to count statistics for online programming. Let me just, there they are. Sorry, my email has to open. So we did have one program apart from the comic book club that met via Zoom, which was my book club, which 7 people came, which is actually pretty regular for my book club. And everybody really enjoyed, just showed off our houses, which was kind of fun. Normally we meet in restaurants around the community, so it was just a different setting for us. Youth programs are still doing really well. They did 13 story times throughout the month of May with 106 attendees. That's a little lower than April, but the weather got really hot in May, and so that's not unexpected that people would stop being on their computers and start being outside. Did you just want me to talk about programming, Mary Jo?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Just anything of note.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Comic book club was the big unusual one for May so far.
Good.
Mary Jo,
Yes.
when it comes to staff, don't you have someone that's retiring?
We do have one staff member who was one of our part-time circulation clerks, Beth, who she liked being home with her husband during this time. He just retired, I believe, last fall or early winter, and just kind of made the decision that she really enjoyed being able to spend time with him, and decided that it was time to retire. So we are saying goodbye to her.
Thank you.
Well, considering that's pretty good that there's just that one difference, and she probably would have made that decision fairly soon anyway. Thanks for that. Is that everything, Mary Jo?
I think that's everything. We pretty much covered everything else during the rest of the meeting.
Okay, thank you for your report. It'll be time for trustees' comments. Before we start with the trustees' comments, I just want to let you know that due to the comment that Barbara Gates started us out with, we will be looking at what rules, well, we started looking at them, at what rules guide how we fill a vacancy, and whether that vacancy has to be approved, that has to be officially filled at the November election. And we've looked at that preliminarily. I don't think we've been able to get council to weigh in yet, because we have, as Barbara stated, the official notice from her just came in. So we'll share that official notice with you. And I think our thinking is to talk to John Day, and then we'll be communicating with the board probably before we meet again, to determine whether or not we can temporarily have someone fill the vacancy, and whether or not we have to find to have someone stand for election, in which case there'd had to be public notice and all that. So with that, I can start. We'll go around. Linda, we've heard from you. We haven't had a trustee comment from you.
Quite a while. Yes.
We didn't have one last month anyway.
Right. No, it's nice to see all of you, and it's helping me get myself going on the road back to normalcy, because I've really felt isolated these past few months, and even missing the last meeting. I think part of it was a brain fog. Just every day's the same. Everything is, my husband and I really stayed in most of the time. So we're just starting to come out. Like, I feel like, what was that movie with Judy Garland? I'm coming out of the woods and out of the fog. So I do appreciate being here tonight. And when will we be able to get back in the building?
Soon, I hope.
I really miss seeing it because I was gone so long. I really only saw it a couple times before we went back into seclusion. So I'll be anxious to know when we can get back and see it again.
We'll make sure you know right away. Joy,
Okay,
are you volunteering to go next?
I can go next.
Okay.
Well, I want to give Mary Jo and all the crew a big hand for getting open so quickly.
Yes.
And also taking care of the staff. And I'm very happy that we paid staff and kept everyone going. And then I also want to mention that there is this Friday, 4 to 6:30, there's a We Say No to Police Violence protest at Myers, in case anybody's interested.
Can you, Joy, Rick was talking to me. Can you repeat the last part of your comment? I didn't hear it.
This Friday at 4 o'clock in front of Myers, there is a We Say No to Police Violence in Belleville protest.
Okay. Is it
Um,
in the Meyer parking lot or is it going somewhere?
It just says that you're meeting the Belleville Meyer, so I'm assuming that.
Okay,
I'm sure you'll see it.
thank you.
Thank you. John?
Yes, Barbara, good luck and thank you for your service. Appreciate it. And I really miss meeting with you people in person.
Yes.
That's it.
We do like your beard.
Thank you.
Mary Jane?
Barbara, gonna miss you. Good luck to you and your son. I hope everything turns out well.
Thank
John? John,
Yes.
I love a man with a fuzzy face. As long as you keep it trimmed, I think it looks great.
Thank you.
Don't let anybody tell you different.
Thank
And Mary Jo, you are like my idol when it comes to numbers.
Mhm.
I looked at that budget and I'm like, how does she do that?
Yeah.
I'm still using my calculator on my phone to figure out the tip. But thank you to everyone. And like John, I prefer to meet in person. But for some of these meetings, you know, you can sit here in your pajamas.
Right. There are benefits, you know.
Yes. So anyway, everybody stay safe. So we don't have we don't have a surge.
Right.
Good. Alma?
Well, I was just gonna say pretty much the same thing. I miss seeing everyone and looking forward to getting back into the new building. And thank you to Mary Jo. I'm sure she's been working tirelessly
Mhm.
while we were, some people were at home, but I'm sure she was working from home when she was at home. And also I wanted to wish Barbara the best. And as I said, we'll definitely be keeping you in prayer and hopefully the move will be an easy transition for you and pop in anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we will move again to Barbara.
Well, I already moved. I moved on May 15th. I don't know. Everything just came together so fast. Many mornings I wake up and I have to ask myself where I am because it happened so fast. And I have boxes packed and piled up in my new apartment, but I'm taking my time. And I'm just thankful that everything worked out okay. Thank you all for supporting me. Thank the community for supporting me. I will be out from time to time to the library, and please let me know when the events are planned, the two that we were gonna do for the donors and the grand opening. I'm not too far away. It takes me for perhaps 15 minutes to get out there, so you'll see me around. And thank you very much, Mary Jo, for the technology, because you know I'm not that great at it. And you have done wonders on tutoring us who are not that great on all this technology. So I want to thank you for that, because a lot of groups I'm with are meeting by Zoom and the telephone and so forth and so on. So I'm a little bit more comfortable. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Sharon.
Yes, ma'am.
Sharon has been a rock for me if I need to talk to somebody. So I want to thank you for that.
Well,
And that's
thank
it.
you. Thank you, Barbara. I, like the rest of the board, will miss you. Certainly understand your need, and I'm really hopeful that things turn around. You've had a really tumultuous time since that has coincided with you serving on this board, and then on top of all
Correct.
that, to come up with our with our COVID and the whole world is in change.
Yep. Yep.
So you've been very strong in handling all of this, and we've been very glad to get to know you. And just because you're leaving this board, we'll still know you, and I'll still be in touch.
Yeah, I'll be in touch. Yeah.
Good. And with my chairperson's comment, it's similarly. This has been something totally so unexpected. 2020, we knew 2020 was going to be a great year for the library, and it is, but none of us had this in mind. So
Right.
we have to be patient with ourselves. We also can continue to be proud of ourselves because God was in it, in my view. I'm expressing my thoughts that we were able to get our actual building finished before the shutdown had to take place. And we will be reopening to a new society, a lot of new, I think there are lessons that will be learned out of this time. And even though it's very, very difficult, I hope that we all come out of it the better.
Yeah.
With that, that's the only comment I have. And
Madam Chair,
John,
Madam Chair, I make the motion that this meeting be adjourned.
do we have to do a roll call vote for that?
Nah.
Yes.
Oh, Mary Jo is a tough taskmaster. Okay, Alma, one more time.
Is there a second?
Oh, was
I'll
there a
second.
second?
I'll second it.
Linda, she's dropping off.
She can't hear any.
And I say yes, and can I answer from my grandbaby? Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
Gates? Gates?
Yes.
Oh, hi,
Bye, Barbara.
do you hear that? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Bye-bye, you guys.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Good night.
Yes.
Good night.
Okay.
Oh, I know.
We're done.
We're done.
We're done.
Okay.
Okay. Go
So
buy
just wait
food
for
at a local
Joy?
restaurant.
Just wait for Joy?
No, we'll just say that her internet cut out.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Bye, John.